you are going to scream with excitement. Promise. That's all I can say. And I will say, save your pennies. This is News on a Tuesday, a July 20th edition, and today we have got a few different things to talk about. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter news episode segment because there's just not a ton of things that are out there right now to discuss, but small things. So speaking of small things, there are a few small things that I wanted to talk about in the form of Lego today. Obviously, this show has to do with Lego, right? Of course it does. But specifically today, I'm going to talk about two super duper tiny sets that are going to be coming your way sooner rather than later. And the first one here is the Minions, The Rise of Gru set, where you get four, I'm going to use this term loosely, minifigs, 40511. It's a 54-piece set. And I got to tell you, the minifigures of your little minions here, I love the pieces that they have for their eyes. Obviously, their bodies are cylindrical in shape. They look like Twinkies with some round ends. And then obviously the feet on the bottom. I've got to say, I really like the way that the printing is for the mouth and stuff like that. You've got some dual molding. It looks like maybe for some of this, the pants are done really well. Really like the hair that sticks out of the top. And then we've got our other little guy over here. I can't ever remember his name. Is it Bob maybe? I think Kevin's the taller one. I love how the pockets are printed on to their leg torso pieces as well on their little overalls. It looks really nice in the way that it is done. And here's the thing. I love minifigs, and these are classified as minifigs. I love minifigs that are different. You see a lot of different ones with maybe not Monkey Kid so much other than the Sandy Big Fig, but you see it with Ninjago, with the different bad guys, with Kalmar currently, with some of the other snake figures that they have done in the past. You really get to see those. And then you also, if you bridge the gap over into video, you get to see some really cool minifigs as well. So I really like the different style of minifig. The two small ones are really cool. I really like the way they're done, and they're just kind of simple and basic. One weapon is a sai. Another one is this giant rock spiky looking mace that is, on a stick. It's huge. So I guess you have that as well. Then you have Gru. Gru comes with two faces. He comes with a happy face, and then he comes with kind of a snarky mouth closed, kind of like not the super happiest. The printing on his scarf looks really nice. He's in a darker blue torso and legs. There's no printing that is on the legs, but just, on the back, that works as well. And then he's got his classic hairpiece, and he's got something that is supposed to be a hammer, I guess, with some green in it. Works for me. Not going to complain about it. And then we move on to our special character. And we had talked about her in her Brickheads form. This new character, obviously, that is going to be out for the new movie. So Bell Bottom is coming in her glory, and she looks pretty much identical to her Brickheads character as well. So I do like that. You've got the nice hairpiece that is up here. She's got two different faces as well because it obviously can cover the backside of the face. She's got one with some eyebrows that are, one is up and one is down, kind of like, seriously? Get out of here. And then another one where she's just kind of plain faced. The printing on her torso and legs, I really like the way that it is done. She's in purple, by the way, and she's got those brown hands, which goes really well with the purple. However, she has something interesting. She's just got a chain here. So I don't know, she's kind of a crazy lady, I guess. But I really like the decoration that is done. You saw it on her Brickheads where she had the chain that it goes around her waist just as an accent to her ensemble. They have that really printed nicely here. I really like the way that is done there. And then just on the back on the top, they have the rest of her, the fluff that is from her costume. The last thing that comes with this is like a I guess you could say it could be a weapons rack holder because it does have two clips, or you could pretend that it's like a fighting dummy or whatever you want to fight it or do whatever. So there is that. And I've got to admit, I really like the way these minifigs look, and the price on them. I mean, it's going to be a fairly cheap price. So there's really nothing that you really have to, worry and say, oh my God, this is going to be too expensive. How am I ever going to afford this? But I will say, at a retail price of $15, I really don't think that it is probably priced the best. I guess if you look at it, you kind of are getting 5 minifigs, even though the dummy is not a minifig. But I don't know. So let's move along here to the other little set review that I wanted to share with you guys, and it is a Brickheads. And if you know anything about the culture in the end of October, early November with Dia de los Muertos or Day of the Dead, there's stuff that comes with this. This character is called La Catrina. If you're going to put some emphasis on that R or the N, you can by all means do that. You want to roll your R. I'm not going to do that for you today. This thing, I've got to admit, I really like the way this is done. Exclusive prints. You have a tile that is above the eyes. It's a one by. It is a 1x4 tile that is printed up top that are kind of supposed to be the eyebrows and the decoration above the eyebrows. And then you also have a 2x2 tile that has the skeleton mouth and the nose and some decoration there. There is a 1x4 long magenta colored brick that has some printing of what you could consider, it almost reminds me of like skeleton ribs. So I really like the way that is done. She comes with a really cool hat that is decorated with some flowers up top and some flowers in her hair. I love the color arrangement, the yellow and the green and the magenta mixed with the really black and white. How it stands off from each other is really exceptional in the way that is done. Plus, then you add on top of the magenta hat, which sticks out the side. I really like the way this is done. And I've got to say, I really like brick heads that are done in this fashion that are for different times of the year or different holidays or different ethnic groups. We, in the school that I teach at, celebrate stuff year round. Every month is some other sort of cultural month. And the librarian at my school celebrates Day of the Dead as well. And I think this will be a great addition to her little getup that she puts up, inside the library for kids to see and that kind of stuff. So I really like this, not only for the build. I mean, Brickheads builds inside are basically all the same, but on the outside, you really have a lot of slopes that are used for the flow of the dress at the bottom. You have a lot for the puffy shoulder area, how you have a slope there that is put on sideways. Even I guess you could say it's almost kind of like a bun that is in her hair that is in the back. The way that is done, how it's all just kind of interconnected. It doesn't look super bulky, but it looks like hair. And it's just different from the regular Brickheads. I really appreciate this. This really reminds me, intricate wise for a Brickheads for hair, kind of like Bell Bottom, where Bell Bottom's hair was made up of plates, but there were so many different size plates and placement of the plates that it really gave that round shape, like almost like my microphone that's in front of my face at the moment. So I really like the way this is done. By far, my favorite Brickheads of the year, aside from maybe the Ninjago ones, Firstborn specifically, just because that was different. Although I don't know, the pets are up there. It's hard to push the pets away, man. Those are some really good ones. So enough with the review stuff. Last week, you guys had an opportunity to hear Lego's Comic-Con reveal. All these toy manufacturers are doing their Comic-Con stuff. Comic-Con. Yes. All of these Comic-Con stuff. And they're releasing this and they're showing this and adult toys like adult collectible action figures. And then, maybe Hasbro toys towards kids and stuff like that. Me being the inner child in me is like, oh, that's so cool. And I was expecting Lego to come out with some kind of really cool announcement. And there wasn't really a big announcement. I mean, this had already leaked. for the most part. The speculation was already there. When it wasn't released with the Star Wars line information prior, it's kind of like, okay. Now, if you heard the conversation with Brian and myself last week, and you heard the conversation with David with his review of the gunship, we're talking about the gunship, and this thing was revealed through Comic-Con, where David was basically tabbed by Lego to, hey, we're going to bring the designers to you. And he knows the design team for Star Wars really well because he works with them a lot. That is his niche in the Lego community. His audience really goes after that kind of stuff, and he builds some amazing mocks. So it was only natural that they tab him, and his videos turned out pretty well as well. It was a good little interview. He's building it. They're talking. They're sharing some information back and forth. I really like the way that turned out. Now, as far as the reveal goes, I know there were a lot of people that said, why didn't they do it during LegoCon? Because LegoCon was not very good. I didn't like LegoCon because of this, or there wasn't really anything to see. Well, obviously there are specific reasons why they do these certain things. Now, if there was a regular Comic-Con in person in San Diego, hopefully there is next year because we will be there live if it is. However, no Comic-Con this year other than virtual. I can imagine that they would have had oodles of these sets there to be able to purchase. And it would have been the talk of the town. But because it wasn't in person, people are like, oh, well, that's dumb. I don't like that. Why did they do this? Why didn't they show something else? What about this speculated giant Star Wars set that's going to be like $1 bajillion in the fall is what everybody keeps thinking. Whether or not that even happens, I don't even know. None of us know. Lego doesn't even know. And if they do know, they're not even going to tell you. They're not going to tell me, and I'm sure as heck not going to tell anybody because A, I don't know enough about Star Wars, and B, I don't break rules. Silly monkeys. Anyway, so the gunship. On that same idea, the gunship, the oops that was made, and David was the one that brought it up to their attention, the design team, and Lego released a statement on how they were going to correct the box art and stuff like that. Now, here's my question. Do you think these things are going, David and I already had the conversation, but you personally, do you really think those things, those misprinted boxes with the instructions misprinted on the inside, that logo, do you think it's going to be excessive in value in the future? And my question to you is kind of like I posed with David. Are you going to open it? You are going to have that issue, and you're going to have that moment where you're like, I can't open it. I can't do it. How am I going to open this thing? You can, and you should, because it's a toy. But I know there are toy collectors out there like, I'm not opening that. That thing's going to stay there forever. And I'm going to continue to do what I do. I'm going to continue to collect these boxes and stuff like that. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. So aside from that, I think it was a cool idea to review or reveal it there. I wish they would have done some other things at that point in time. They didn't. They could have. Maybe they weren't really wanting to do that after just having LegoCon and having their only little deal, their separate deal. It's just really hard to determine where their brain is, where their thought process is with something like that. And I know some of you were totally bummed out. I wasn't really bummed out. I was kind of like, well, I already had an idea of what was coming, and then I knew what was coming. So it wasn't anything where I was really excited. I know the Star Wars community is excited. I've already heard mixed reviews from some of you that you like it, you don't like it. I don't really have a dog in the fight here. I don't really care too much about it. I think it looks neat. It's just not my cup of tea, right? So with that said, I guess you wait and see August 1st, and they will probably sell out fairly quickly, without a doubt. So the last two things. Lego Masters New Zealand. New Zealand is getting a Lego Masters episodic series, right? In 2022. I think that's kind of interesting, especially because there are only 5 million people that live in New Zealand. Holy crazy nuggets. That's insane. 5 million people. And you're going to tab, 12, 16, 20, however many to be on the show. And there are a lot of cool builders over there, I will admit, because Danish showed live video. Danish showed videos. If you've seen any of Between the Bricks videos from his shows that he goes to, there's some really cool mock builders over in New Zealand, and they don't get the same amount of attention because places like Beyond the Brick don't really go to New Zealand. They may have in the past, but I know they travel the world, but they go to Europe a lot, sometimes South America. I think they've been to Australia and maybe the Far East, but I don't know that they really go to New Zealand. So you have an opportunity there to really find some really cool builds, really cool, intricate things. And maybe Dan should be tabbed for the show. I'm calling you out, Dan. I think you should do it. I absolutely think that you should apply to be on the show, without a doubt. And he's going to sit there and he's going to say, no, my builds aren't that great. There are worse builders than you. All of you, him included. There are worse builders, such as myself. But take the chance, go for it, and see what happens. It's just an interview process. It costs you nothing. It costs you literally nothing to apply. So with that in mind, that is coming in 2022. And the very last thing, I got a giant brown box in the mail the other day, and I have a interesting show planned in the future for it. And I am beyond thrilled to be able to discuss it in the future, because I guarantee you, your eyes are going to pop out of your skull. You don't know what I'm talking about. Obviously, somebody will probably end up leaking it. The children on the web manage to find things and just ruin it for people. I mean, I think the gunship leaked right before, which is so silly. It's so silly. But I promise you this, when this thing does become available, you are going to scream with excitement. Promise. That's all I can say. And I will say, save your pennies. That's all I'm going to say. It's not even a tease. I'm just saying, save your pennies. There is a group of you out there, including myself. Your eyes are going to pop out of your head. Trust me. So with that said, I am done for News on a Tues this week. And we will see what happens between now and next week, because there are going to be things. Before I do sign off, just remember, I will be in technically Iowa, but we will be at Nebraska Brick Days this weekend. If you're hearing the show today, it's only a few days away. We will be there on Saturday and potentially Sunday morning. Still haven't quite figured out my itinerary. Also, we are doing a live show throughout the day. We will probably do hour and a half, 2 hour live, and then visit with some other people, bring on some other guests, and just do a live show. If you are interested in it, you can listen live to the show. I know you can do it through Spreaker's app. I will tell you this. If you follow me on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, especially YouTube, it will be there. It will be there live. And from my understanding from iHeart, what I was told was that you guys can interact through their own forum with a chat function, with a chat feature. I don't know if you guys can call in and ask questions. I'm still trying to get full clarification on that, but definitely check it out, because there's going to be some really cool guests. If you have nothing to do, it's basically like a podcast. It's just going to be live. So if you're at work well, I guess you wouldn't be at work. Well, some of you work on Saturdays, but if you're not at work, or you don't really have anything to do, you're working on your car, you're mowing your yard, you got your earbuds in like I do, turn it on. You'll hear some incredible little stories from people and their mock builds and stuff like that. We'll get a chance to talk to some really cool people there. And maybe on Sunday, if I'm able to swing Sunday, we can get the O'Hanlons on and see what they do, right? See if Josh will come on and have a chit chat with us for a little bit. So if you are there, swing by, check me out. My merch has not arrived in time, so I don't have any goodies to give out. I do have Miss Bricks stickers to give out. If you are a Miss Bricks fan, you can come by and say hello and pick yourself up a Miss Bricks sticker if you're in the mood, because they are wicked cool stickers. But with that said, I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it.